Sorry, Ben, what? Stop saying.
Quiet.
I'll just delete the beginning of it.
Yeah, that's what you said in the last video. You didn't.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I did the last one. I got rid of the keying bit.
No.
Yeah. Thank you.
Best bit.
Okay, so use rounding for estimation, or estimating. So now the thing is, one very important thing we need to remember: rounding a number reduces the accuracy. Okay. If you round all numbers in a calculation, you reduce the accuracy of the answer. Okay. Now, so we would say, well, if we reduce the accuracy of the answer, potentially we'll make it incorrect. If you reduce it so much, it's incorrect. Alright? So there are some times, as you get further on in maths, you will need to make sure, for instance, that you work in fractions always, because fractions are accurate, exact answers. Or something that you'll learn in IGCSE about working with surds, which are square roots. We leave them like that because they're exact answers and we don't have to round the decimals. Fractions, not all fractions are terminating decimals. They might go on forever. Like 1.33333 is 1 1/3. You can't write 1.333 accurately because it's always going to be rounded unless you put that little dot. But 1/3 as a third, done, finished. We know exactly what it is. The thing is, if you always have to round decimals, you will affect the answers that you get. Do it too much, the answers get too far away from their actual answer, they become incorrect. However, when we estimate, okay, we don't want an exact answer. We're not worried about the exact answer. But what you should get into the habit of doing is estimating pretty much all your answers. Alright? Especially when decimals are concerned. Because the good thing about maths that I like, I prefer it to other subjects like English and history and things like that. So when you do a test in maths, for pretty much all the questions, you can know if you're right or wrong. Right? Like Tom said, if you get an answer and it says in the question write to 2 decimal places and your answer isn't 2 decimal places, you know you've done something wrong. If you're asked to write an essay about your opinions on blah blah blah, you don't know whether what you've written is correct until you get the answer back and the teacher said, oh, but you forgot this and you forgot that, and you're like, oh right, well how was I supposed to know? Right? But in maths, there's a lot of things where you can check. So this word estimating is actually a good way of checking results. Right? So for instance, if I want you to do 3.027 multiplied by 2.349, okay, divided by 1.624, okay, if that's the question I want to be done. Now the thing is, I would get you to do that on a calculator, but how clever is a calculator?
Dumb.
much.
Pretty dumb.
Calculator is just as dumb as it comes. It can only do what you tell it to do. So the clever part of the calculator is you. If you do something incorrectly, your calculator will tell you the correct answer for what you've done, which might be the wrong thing. It does not have a little flashing light and have a, sorry Leo, I think what you meant to write is, right, would you like that answer instead? Oh yeah, thanks. Thanks, Cap. Right?
You're my best pal.
It doesn't work that way, although with your new phones and things with Siri or whatever, it kind of might tell you how stupid you are. Right, anyway, so if I had to do that, now what we do is we do an estimation. Right? And to estimate, what you're doing is you're checking roughly where the answer should be. Roughly. Okay? And we do that by, I would say, for instance, with this question, round to one significant figure, okay, and then do the calculation. So, for instance, this would turn into what if every number was rounded to one significant figure? Archie?
3 times 2 divided by 2.
Exactly. 3 times 2 divided by 2. And the answer to that would be? 3. Now, I am not telling you that the answer to this is 3. But what we can use is these little wiggly equal sign is approximately 3. Alright? Now that is not the answer that you would put down if I ask you for that answer. But what it is if I do, so it's going to be roughly 3. Now I do it on my calculator and I get the actual answer. And if I've done something wrong, which with a division quite often can happen, because if the calculator does what it follows BODMAS, and if you don't do that properly, you can get the wrong answer. If you've got an answer of, let's say you pressed a plus by mistake, and you get a different answer, you might go, oh no, it can't be that. I've checked, it must be roughly this. So that's the thing about estimation. So in a test, for instance, it will tell you what level of accuracy to round things to, and then it will say do the calculation in your head, because that's the other point. There's no point estimating if you can't do that in your head, because then you might as well just do the first thing in your calculator anyway. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Right? So if I rounded this to 3 times 2.3 times divide by 1.6, doesn't make it any easier to do. Right? So you have to go to that next level. So you have to decide for yourself eventually, what should I estimate it to? What should I round it to? So that's your estimator. Okay? So next time we'll have a go at a few answers. Did you want to, have you written that down? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.